Well, hello everybody. Happy weekend. My name is La Vida, Virtual Life, and we are back with some more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. We're on the final case of the first game of the, dual package here. That is the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We are on the final case. The adventure of the unspeakable story. The never-ending story. Let's see if we got a cutscene. We usually do. The Hound of the Baskervilles. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever... Okay.
It's coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this is the diabolical Hound of the Baskervilles."
Oh ho. Are we involved? I don't know. Sounds sussy to me. Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In that disconcerting courtroom experience we were first thrown into on the day we arrived in the country, and in Soseki-san's terrible ordeal that followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court, which is hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown law student from far away. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. 15th of April, 9:13 a.m., Naruhodo Legal Consultancy. That morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. But after he'd gone, Susato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Susato-san? Yes? Is it time to leave for court already? Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me. But I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. So shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite? Yes. Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? And once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in fighting fit form. Let me see. What case is it today? Here we go again. Silly Susato. So, what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning, I mean? Oh, a telegram? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, but you're not going to get away with that. Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. It was just a boring old telegram. That's 3 times now she's tried and failed to convince me it was nothing. I promise that I'll tell you about it at some point. Alright, I understand. I suppose Soseki-san will have arrived back in Japan by now, won't he? Yeah, I should think so. He left immediately after this terrible ordeal. Which would now mean he should have completed the voyage already, or just a few days away. A fortnight ago, we had a very long telegram from him, do you remember? Complaining of seasickness? But by and large, it seems his voyage has been going well. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? I was just wondering what might have become of Soseki-san had he stayed in London, that's all. You mean as regards to Lord Van Zeeks, the Reaper? Yeah, I can't help but wondering if seasickness would have been paled into insignificance in that case. The Reaper. What is it they say? That no one who stands in the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? Like the way that nightmarish trial ended on the very first day we arrived in London. Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery. Yes, but at least Soseki-san is safely out of the country now. Presumably that means that the curse of the Reaper can only take effect within the confines of the city of London, perhaps? Even if that's the case, it's a little comfort. I have a terrible sense of foreboding. Yo, this music is awesome. If the legend of the Reaper is to be believed, it would mean he wields the sword of justice himself. Come to think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely not wielding the sword against more acquitted defendants. No, I don't think so. Apparently Lord Van Zeeks hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter. Oh? Yeah, since Soseki-san's trial, he's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems. Really? Just like before, when he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. I am in my coffin, sucking my blood. I mean the maiden blood. Will you give me fresh blood to suck? So it has just been me who's faced him in recent spate of trials then. Ugh, just my luck. I wonder if luck doesn't come into it. Sorry, what was that? Oh, nothing. Never mind, it just feels like we were set up. Alright. Let's move to breakfast. Breakfast. April 15th, Shome Suite.
Morning, Runo. Morning, Susie.
Good morning, Iris. Iris?
What is it, Runo?
What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled.
Yes, you noticed that, did you? Hurley isn't in his best form this morning, it seems.
Hello? Hello, Mr. Sholmes? Good morning. Oh. A good morning to die, perhaps. Has something happened, Mr. Sholmes? You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before. My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The world is dead. Damn this blanched existence! That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence. I'm afraid I don't understand. Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate? Some dry toast and insipid coffee for me, if it's not too much trouble.
Kitty!
Oh, look, it's Wagahai. Good morning, boy. Oh. There must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. But how did it get there?
Well then, everyone, time for breakfast.
Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris. Oh, it would indeed be a fine day to die. I knew something looked different. Something's missing from Mr. Shom's desk. You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened? Oh, it used to be the case that in my hands this violin sung like dawn chorus. Its melisson tones would make the flowers bloom. It would? But now, the muses are unamused with me. The goddess of music have thrown me over. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Shome? 4 hours I have bowed, for days even. Though through the night I have endeavored, to no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone, gone forever. No more recitals of unbridled emotion.
Well, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Miss Hurley?
Don't worry, I'm sure it'll come back. Don't worry, I'm sure it'll come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. The goddess of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man. The next, they unmercifully withdraw it. Oh, dear. Oh, why is this happening to me? If they take the turn I have for the violin from me, what's left, for pity's sake? What's left? Deduction, perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for? Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but your desk looks rather empty today. Well done, Mr. Sato. Your observation skills do you credit. Oh no, Mr. Sholmes. They pale in significance when compared to yours. You'd struggle not to notice, wouldn't you?
You mean Hurley's great antistoscope? That's at Windybanks now. And a litoscope.
Sorry, it's at Windybank?
No, Windybanks, the pawnbroker.
Pawn? What? You mean you pawned the enormous machine of yours? It is some considerable value, you see, quite undeservingly. But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I should have gladly passed what little income I have to you. Dear madam, things are far from desperate. But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate? Making use of a pawnbroker is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is? Doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. Oh, what's to understand exactly? What did you mean when you said we didn't fully understand how pawnbroking works? To the people of London, pawnbrokers are akin to banks. Banks? On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbrokers of choice. With the money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week.
And then on Saturdays, they go recover their things using the money they back.
I had no idea. It's been a fascinating lesson for us.
Everyone does it, you see, especially people in the inner London.
And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise.
Oh, how ingenious. So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at Windybanks, you see.
A pawnbroker can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. Who would have thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain?
Of course, you have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley?
Oh, what does it matter? The world is dead to me now. The world is dead to me now.
Mr. Natsume's cat seemed to have settled in his new home then. Oh yes, and I've become very attached to little Waggy.
Oh, it would appear his previous owner has completely forgotten him. Cats are unfeeling creatures. Their meows are as empty as the hearts of the muses.
If Mr. Natsume had no intention of taking Wagyu back to Japan, I wonder why he kept him in the first place.
I expect he would have taken him if he could, but pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience.
And for good reason. Terrible things happen if the rules of the passage are not obeyed. Well, I don't mind because Waggy is adorable.
Oh. Yes, he really is. Oh yes, what about the door? I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from?
Oh, you noticed. You're observant, Runo. Look, I use this, my latest invention.
What? What is that?
I call it the cat flipper mat.
Gosh, a machine for making doors just for cats?
That's right, it can make a cat flap for a little furry friend in like Waggy in seconds. And it can do it on any door roll, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see.
Wouldn't it have been just quicker to make a cat flap rather than make a machine to make the cat flap?
Well, yes, maybe, but now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. Oh, I think it's wonderful. You must make one for us in the door in the office upstairs, Iris.
She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl.
Oh no! Oh, what was that? Wag high? Wag high? Uh-oh. What was that? Oh no! Wag high's tangled up in your violin! I think he thinks it's a toy. No, what's he doing with it? Oh dear, Mr. Shom's precious violin. Why should I care?
What?
I shouldn't be surprised if the cat is a more accomplished musician than I now.
Mr. Sholmes is really in poor spirits, isn't he?
Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it lives. Shall I, early?
Out of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. So this is the violin, is it?
It's a Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by renowned Italian luthier Antonio Stradivari. Bakur!
Hi, buddy. How was your weekend? Did you have a nice weekend so far? Oh, I see. It doesn't really look like anything special to me.
I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The brokers had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for a mere 55 shillings.
How honorable of you.
And until today, it has been my faithful companion in every great Pagliani-inspired performance I have made. I ask you, is there a reason to live in a world devoid of music? To tolerate this blanded existence? No! There is none!
I hope you're doing well, Bakur.
Mr. Sholmes. What dear madam, what? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release from this dull routine.
Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think?
Hmm?
What do you mean, Mr. Sato?
Oh, she's right. Yes, the tone of the wood is completely different.
And that's not all. I'm sure there were no cracks here before. Wait, it's not even the right size, is it?
What's this?
Somebody yoinked his violin. I'm terribly sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't a violin at all.
Then what?
I believe it's an entirely different instrument called a viola.
What? What? Yeah. Oh, what? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, are you all right? You're right. You are quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what? Pray, is the piece of string some flotsam?
Not your faithful performing partner, then?
I see what must have happened.
You do, Iris?
This is just a simple mix-up.
Sound like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we asked her. I think it's the pawn shop probably gave him the wrong. Yeah, probably gave her the wrong thing.
What did you mean by a mix-up, Iris?
Well, you see, this violin, viola I mean, was at Windybanks until last week.
At the pawnbrokers? Not Mr. Sholmes' beloved musical partner.
There is a proverb from the East, which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child travel.
Yes, indeed. So you sent your beloved violin to the pawnbrokers and hoped that it would experience personal growth? Oh, what a wonderful idea.
Last week I pawned my great anticitiscope in order to release my precious instrument. But it would appear Mr. Windybank mistakenly furnished me with a tawdry fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre of the piece of timber.
No, but your every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings.
Pshaw! A fine state of affairs this is, and why I always say, Mr. Naruhodo, never trust a pawnbroker. They will try to fiddle you every time.
But earlier you told us that you could think of a pawnbroker as an extremely secure vault.
Come, Mr. Naruhodo, dilly-dallying will get you nowhere.
Sorry?
Crunching your toast with vacant aspect, fressing your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency of which we are faced?
We must visit Mr. Windybank's brokery at once, isn't that right, Mr. Sholmes?
Precisely, Miss Usato, without a moment's delay.
But I haven't finished my bacon and egg.
My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with increasingly vacant aspect, to fress your egg ever more obtusely?
All right, say no more, let's go then.
Don't worry, Runo, I'd be happy to eat it up for you again later.
Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I am rather curious to see what a British pawnbroker looks like. All right. Vámonos. New location has been added. Huh.
"15th of April, Windybank's pawnbroker."
So this is a British pawnbroker.
Oh my, there are all sorts of tools and contraptions in here I've never laid eyes on before.
Ah, Susato-san, and that spark of wonder in your eyes. You can't wait to scour the shelves, can you? I get the impression you enjoy places like this.
Oh yes, I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is a real thrill for me.
My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
We are calling on matters of business, not pleasure.
And clearly Mr. Sholmes means business too, judging by the spark of fury in his eyes.
Oh, I'm ready to rat-a-tat-tat. Give me that violin back, baby.
Ah, Mr. Sholmes, welcome back, sir.
Did you hear that brazen welcome?
Well, yes, we are potential customers after all.
We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruhodo, and it's time to inform Mr. Windybank of our ire. Come, the fight is afoot. Naturally, you'll recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago.
Yes?
This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument of Mr. Windybank. The color of the wood is different, it has holes in it, is not the same size.
A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, I'm so very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me. An excusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. I shall have to take my own life.
I don't think that will be necessary, do you?
If I may just say one thing before I pop off.
Yes?
It was you, sir, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe?
Sorry?
As I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch your violin when I heard,
here it is. You did?
And when I turned to controvert you, you had taken the viola and left, sir.
However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly at my own door for allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble or grouse any longer. May this guilt die with me.
No. Stop, my dear fellow. The fault is mine.
Oh. Ooh.
It would appear that the fight is over. I do humbly apologize, Mr. Windybank. Evidently, my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy.
Well, you wouldn't be Mr. Herlock Sholmes without that questionable disposition, now would you?
I do believe you may be right, sir.
It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my most challenging customers. I need to remind you of the peculiar collection of items you brought through my door in the past.
Oh, peculiar items?
In the extreme, ma'am, for example, the unpublished manuscript of an eponymous work, the novels of Herlock Sholmes of some sort.
Oh my, a new full-fledged novel? And unpublished? A story I've yet to read, you mean?
Ah, forgive me!
Wait, before you die, you must tell me more. I must know more, tell me everything.
Wow, Susato-san is really fired up now.
Is there really an unpublished story on its very roof?
Well, one day the gentleman here brought in an old metal chest, you see.
I should like to entrust this to you if you'll care for a while, Mr. Windybank.
For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir, not a farthing more.
It houses something of great value indeed. The latest manuscript, recounting the adventures of one Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
I beg your pardon, a manuscript? You wish to deposit a manuscript?
Indeed I do, for I'm confident I'll be quite safe here.
And that was that. As such, Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom.
Mr. Sholmes, is that really true?
Do I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this?
I continue to pay your fee, do I not? Then kindly continue to store my belongings securely.
Of course, sir, of course. They're safe and sound with me, I assure you, on my life. This is all very strange. I wonder, could I ask you something? Gentleman from the East, I see. Yes, that sable suit. I suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat wishing to offend. Sorry. Aha, but for you splendid attire, ma'am, 5 guineas, no less. The colors are exquisite, the design exotic. Eastern artistry at its finest, may I say.
Oh my, 5 guineas, you say? How interesting.
Why do I feel as though I've suffered some sort of defeat here? Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said that pawnbrokers are rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilize the establishment as you describe. I appraise their items and offer them a proportional loan and 2 months of secure storage. In that time, they repay the original sum to me, plus the agreed interest. Their items are happily returned.
What happens if they don't pay you the money?
Arrgh! What's up, Liam? You okay? Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me.
So you never sell items before the 2 months has passed, then?
That's right, ma'am, that's right. Which means some considerable responsibility rests on my shoulders. Should a customer's precious belonging be lost, the only recompense for me to end it all.
The very idea, Mr. Windybank, is an absurdity. One should never talk of one's demise so casually,
says the man who was telling us all it was a good day to die only this morning.
And let us not forget that I have already helped you take measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs.
Oh, what sort of measures?
I engineered a simple device which Mr. Windybank has installed here at his shop. I call it the Red-Handed Recorder.
Is
that not so, Mr. Windybank?
Ah ha ha! You okay, Leah? What was that deep sigh about? What on earth is a red-handed recorder?
Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are two just below in the ceiling.
I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device.
Very astute. It is indeed a camera furnished with some 100 pieces of celluloid film. And every 30 minutes precisely, the camera automatically records the appearance of the shop.
Here, I have an example I can show you. My name's Windybank.
Yes, the print from the camera is set to record the activity at the shop counter. I developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image even in darkness.
Really? That's extraordinary. Yes, you can see so clearly the counter and the door behind it. Look!
So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed.
But did you not say the photographic prints were taken at 30-minute intervals?
Indeed, as you say, my dear madam.
Then what if the incident were to occur in between those times?
One could only say that would be a cruel twist of fate.
I must confess your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Windybank. Surely they are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word.
You okay, Liam? It is the cost of film, sir. You most graciously placed not one but two cameras in my shop after all, which means I must pay for nigh 100 utterly useless prints every single day. I'm afraid the cost of film will break me before I'm very much older. You feel dead? Are you sick?
Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbroker, you know? My dear fellows, we're on the verge of an age where safety and security come at one price.
Oh, heaven help us. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin.
The very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windybank.
Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop, huh? Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer. I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt. Fear not. Sorry. I have only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be harmed. That's not really what I meant.
Good day to you, then, Mr. Windybank.
It's been a pleasure as always, Mr. Sholmes. Stayed up till 1 a.m. with the boys. Stayed up late. Dead by daylight. You guys having fun? That's good.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, now we can explore at last.
I guess we can. Guess we can.
Look at that enormous ledger on the open counter there.
Mr. Windybank.
If anything, there's nothing else very particular about recording the items he accepts.
He'd have to be, otherwise he'd get himself in all sorts of trouble. Which might explain the thing that catches my eye far more than the ledger. This revolver here.
Do not entertain even a single thought of pilfering an article herein, my dear fellow.
Huh?
I assure you, Mr. Windybank would not hesitate to draw that weapon with a speed belying his portly size.
Oh, you don't mean he'd...
Blow his brains out, indeed, in recompense for his blunder.
Oh my. But in any case, of course we would never do such a thing. How could you even suggest it?
Yes, you see.
There seems to be a little hidden door behind the curtain there.
That leads to the storage room where Mr. Windybank keeps his articles that are currently important.
I see.
There's nothing of particular interest inside. I certainly wouldn't recommend any larcenous activity.
Recommend it or not, it's not something I tend to do.
There is but one key, and Mr. Windybank keeps it in his pocket at all times. Before he sleeps, he places it into a small pot which he slides under his pillow.
How on earth do you know about that, Mr. Sholmes?
I'm a detective, sir. It is my business to know what others do not. I am frequently assailed by information that I neither care for nor wish to attain.
Mr. Sholmes, you are a wonder. And a prime suspect if this pawnbroker is ever burgled. Look at this. This is a lovely big shiny box bee. That, my dear madam, is a music box. Surely you have such things in your own country. Oh my, yes, but certainly never seen one so large before. Shall we listen a while? Oh, pretty. Ah, what a sublime sound. It's like the music of angels. I've never really heard anything like it before in my life. This particular specimen is of larger variety, commonly found in public houses and restaurants. There's a metal disc inside which notes can be played or recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be played. My goodness, what a simply delightful machine! Indeed, though the popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course. Science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. This is true. This is true. What an assortment of things here on the shelves here. Crockery, footwear, clocks, and watches. Almost anything you care to imagine. Those are forfeited items offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn or colloquially pop an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. Hey buddy! Happy weekend! How is Grandma's? How is Grandma doing? And your sister? He stores the item for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be repaid. If not, he is free to display it in his shop for sale at a price of his choosing. Oh yes, now that you've explained it, I'm noticing little price tags on everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. My treasured university uniform never. It embodies my student spirit. You may pawn your raggedy-ass clothes, my dear fellow. Nothing will come of them unless, of course, you cannot pay. Still here. You having fun? Now, what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does? It seems to have two little windows for looking through. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What you're looking at is a stereoscope. A stereoscope? Fascinating. It is aptly named, I assure you. Look through the eyepieces and see for yourself. Oh, I should be delighted to. Excuse me a moment while I have a look. Just before you do, there's something I should point out. Probably won't watch the stream because I have to finish this game myself. I'll come to watch the next one if there is one. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'll stream something later. See ya, EE. You rock, bro. Take good care of yourself, okay? My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopically, as it were, you will need to be cross-eyed. However, if that is beyond you, it is of little consequence today. Alright then, I'm going to try it. Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, you must see! At once! Oh, alright then. So I need to be cross-eyed. Like I'm trying to look my own nose. What the? I don't believe it. It's just a photographic print, but it seems you could reach out and touch it. Yes, the sense of depth is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fads. They're often found at little stalls at the park. People will queue for hours to see them. Why? Why are people meddling with such black magic? It is no magic, my dear madam. It is, well, far too complicated to explain at the present. We shall save this lesson for another day. Oh. That's not a calendar you could easily miss, is it? 15th of April, today's date.
Yes, that's not for sale, I must point out. It is an Eastern-style page-a-day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date.
The perfect calendar for a tearaway fellow such as yourself, Mr. Windybank. And who was it who walked out of here with the wrong violin before?
Well, when the agreed storage period is passed without repayment, articles are forfeited, you see. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. It's something a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say.
Oh, yes, I can see you're dedicated to your job. Three globes of gold. Is that some sort of charm? Dear me, have you not seen that sign before?
No, never.
The three golden balls are, in Great Britain at least, the universal sign of a pawnbroker. There are more than 700 such establishments in the capital, all showing the same sign.
Oh, I see.
Ah, I had not imagined your ignorance was so profound. Oh, well, what is the significance of all three golden balls then? Does it have some special meaning? That is entirely unimportant here, dear madam, irrelevant even.
You mean you don't know?
Okay. Let's go to Baker Street.
Look at all the different things in the windows of this shop.
Ah, that's Windybank's, the pawnbrokery. Looks much smarter than pawnbrokers in Japan, doesn't it? Yes, you're right. I find pawnbrokers at home rather inapproachable personally. Reminds me of tearfully parting with my favorite fountain pen. I felt so miserable. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, Mr. Naruhodo.
Weirdo.
It's already been 2 months since we started taking lodgings here above Mr. Shum's office. I still can't quite believe it. Oh, I know! To actually be sharing accommodations with the world's greatest detective. If I ever find myself before a court of law now, I will have not one regret.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'd be happy to defend you, of course.
Huh? Weirdo!
Can we go back to the... Yeah. No? See what's in the house.
It looks like a huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. It seems very sturdy with an equally sturdy lock. Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous.
How did you come to that conclusion?
The fire is burning comfortably in the grate again today. It's a very different feeling to Japanese hibachi somehow. Oh, look at that photographic print of a lady displayed on the mantelpiece. Could it be? Yes, it must be. It's the woman. Oh, how exciting. Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Got an achievement. I got an achievement.
These are all mementos of Mr. Shum's past cases, I think. If you've been involved in my case, I wonder if the beefsteak from Le Carnival would be on display here. A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing men, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an intense, entrancing collection. Looks like an untidy assortment of junk to me, rather like what's on my own shelves. Well, you really got to learn to keep your things in order, Mr. Naruhodo.
No favoritism there at all.
There's all sorts of these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped so high I can't help the feeling that the whole thing is going to topple at any moment. Oh, that's such a charming untidy collection of paraphernalia, isn't it? It just looks messy to me, like my desk. But you, Mr. Naruhodo, must learn to keep tidy up after yourself. No favoritism there, then.
Freaking weirdo, man.
Look at Mr. Shum's desk. It's completely clear. Isn't that enormous machine usually on it? We can never hope to understand what goes on in the great detective's mind, Mr. Naruhodo. Why, next time we're invited, we may find he's vacated the entire suite.
That's scarily plausible, actually. scarily plausible, actually.
Come to think of it, I haven't seen Iris doing much writing recently. But there's paper already set up in the typewriter, look, as if she's about to start. That reminds me, when I mentioned that Iris was in the process of writing a full-fledged novel, Mr. Natsume was most impressed. Ah yes, Mr. Natsume. That's what I'll be doing too when I'm back in Japan, he said, through tightly clenched fists and teeth. Meow. Where's the kitty? I want to see the kitty. Iris's beautiful tea set is there on the table as usual. A cup of one of her special blends always helps me to relax when I'm feeling the strain. The English pastime of tea has many similarities with their own tea ceremony customs, don't you think? It's the idea of hospitality behind it. That's the essence of tea. Well, that's nice. All right, I think we've explored everything. Where do I want to go? Do I want to go to the pawnbrokery? I think we've found everything. Maybe we should go back to our office. Oh no, there's something here. Look at this. Whatever could it be used for? I have no idea. Ah. There's a small catch just here, look. We're going to open it, aren't we? Oh my, that's amazing. It has some sort of spring-locked, loaded mechanism, which we'll never manage to put back to the way it was before. What are you two doing? What? Us? Nothing. No, nothing at all. Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. Feels as though I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. What? Only a tuppence for it? That ain't fair, and you know it. The Oracle is better with a penny, miss. I cannot afford more. Sounds like there's an argument brawling over the counter. Come on, that can't be right. Have you had proper butchers? That's it. I've seen all I need to see, young girl. Wait, don't we know? I'm sure I recognize her. Oh, yes. It's the young lady from Mr. McGilda's trial 2 months ago.
Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket.
Gordon Bennett, you lot! Hello, Miss Lestrade. I hope you've been well.
What? You remember me then, do you?
Well, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure.
So what are you doing in here? Down and out like the rest of us, nothing to eat? Come pop with the black weasel, sorry coat of ya?
Oh, what is this about this black uniform that makes everybody comment on it?
Ah, good day, unless I'm much mistaken.
You would be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke grenade launcher.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes!
So, have you something of value to pawn, do you? Allow me to see the article, and I shall negotiate with Mr. Windibank on your behalf.
Pull the other one. I don't need help with some stuck-up date. Get out of my business. Go on, I'll make trouble for you.
As you wish, Miss Lestrade. I shall happily remove myself from your presence. He's really done it. He's gone. I'm sorry, but as I said, there's really no room for negotiation here. What is that thing he has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc? Mr. Krabs, how are you, buddy?
And you, go on, leave me alone.
Oh, Miss Lestrade, just pretend we aren't here. We shan't be offended in the slightest.
Oh.
Hey, Krabs. Susada-san can really stand her ground when she wants to.
Whatever.
Somehow I didn't really think you were the sort of person who used a pawnbroker, Miss Lestrade.
Yeah, well, I am alright. I'm a Londoner just like everybody else. That's the problem, isn't it?
No, not at all. It's just that, well,
Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably don't even belong to her. Probably got on the dive, did she? Yeah, I can see it written all over your Chevy Chase.
Legendary Wolf UK. New name? Pog. Nice to see you, Wolf. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruhodo? Alright then, I'm just going to come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people?
Well, I don't know best answer that really. I suppose sometimes.
You're not going to deny it either, Miss Lestrade?
Oh, not this time, alright. I swear, this thing belongs to me.
The disc that Mr. Windhelm, Windybank is holding. Perhaps we should see what he has to say about this. Sorry, I haven't been streams lately. Oh, don't worry about it. No problem at all, bud. I'll be on vacation as well. On Wednesday, I'm leaving for a little short vacation myself, so I understand life's been busy. Life's been busy. Mr. Windybank, what exactly is this metal disc that Miss Lestrade has brought in? Looks like for the music machine. It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. Ah, this is a music disc, you see, for use inside a music box. In a music box?
What? You don't even know what a music box is? You Eastern lot ain't too savvy, yeah?
I know what a music box is. I've just never seen one of these discs before. The small protrusions on the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and the beautiful music plays. He's so incredible. Tell us what tune is on this disc. Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There are so many different types of music boxes, you see. British-made, German, Swiss. I have no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. Ah, I see. And that's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny.
That's a packet of lies. He told me he did. He said it was, well...
He? Who?
Never you mind. It just ain't right, that's all. The disc's worth good money. I know it is.
Well, then, you'll have to try your luck at another pawnbroker's, won't you?
Oh...
The music, though. She's been in here before, of course, that little Tata Demalion. Tata Demalion. I've never even heard that word. What the shit does that mean? Let's look that up. Tatter. Is that an English word, UK? Tatter Demalion. Demalion. What in the shit? Ragged or disreputable in appearance, being in a decayed state or condition, dilapidated. How the hell do you say it? Tatter and Demalion. Demalia. It's a good word. That's a good word. Oh, I see. And brought some dubious article or other with her every single time, I might add.
Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. Mr. Higgins, just you wait. Mr. Higgins, just you wait.
So, is there something dubious about the dish she brought in today? Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? Well, she brought in was a storage ticket. Ah, a storage ticket. So, Miss Lestrade has actually come to redeem an article from you today, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. A girl like me has a lot of stuff what needs stolen.
Alright, yes, that's definitely dubious.
The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight, but as she gave me the ticket for it and repaid both loan and interest, I was obliged to return the article to her.
But what was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Windybank.
The little scamp is wearing it, ma'am. It's the overcoat that she redeemed.
Oh,
What's wrong with that? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does.
so what about the disc then? How does that come into all this?
The disc is something else. A new article to pawn if the girl and I can agree a price.
I'm confused. I thought you said Miss Lestrade brought in a storage ticket today.
It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owed on it, as you say.
For this heavy black coat which you returned her as I understood it?
That's right, yes. So rather unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through the pockets.
Oh, you mean...
What? Don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady?
Ah, I see. So it came out of the pocket of the overcoat, did it?
If you mean this disc, then yes, exactly, Mom.
And she immediately tried to pawn it. For quite a high price as well. This is rather suspicious, I think.
Give it up. I'm just trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Something.
Miss Lestrade, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place?
Well, me.
It doesn't really appear to be your size.
Me old man. It's me old man's, ain't it?
Is it, Miss Lestrade? Yes, this is definitely all rather suspicious.
Out of my way, please.
Who's this picture postcard English gentleman?
Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen.
What's your problem, eh?
There is no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I have a matter to discuss with the proprietor.
Oh?
And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve.
Look, ain't it obvious I ain't done talking with him yet?
You went to Noah's Ark Museum? What? You did? Like a religious museum with like Noah's Ark stuff in it? You did? What was that like? A museum might be a little pushing it there if you ask me, but what do they have at the quote unquote museum? Did they build a Noah's Ark? I bet they did. I hope you're having fun, Krabs, on your trip.
If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line.
Ah? Well, you are an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket.
Huh? Who are you? How do you know who I am?
The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems.
What you mean from you?
Broker? Yes, sir? I believe this filthy pickpocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes, The article in question belongs to me. I demand it to be returned at once.
Hello, right, oh my.
No, that's a lie. Who are you trying to pull?
Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel, and needless to say, any music box discs too.
No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's me old man, so it was. Now it's mine.
Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. Didn't get a notification. Yeah, well, YouTube's a bitch. You went to Noah's Ark Museum in Kentucky. Right. What? Noah's Ark Museum. First of all, a Bible story with a museum? What exactly did they have that was supposedly a museum? Did they have little animals? Was it like a zoo? Did they have a makeshift Noah's Ark? Museum, huh? Sounds some sort of like Christian Disneyland to me. Peter, hello. What up, Peter? Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. This is a very awkward situation. Yes. I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Hi, Peter. Miss Lestrade, is what this gentleman saying is...
What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I ain't ever laid eyes on that dandy before.
Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket?
No, I swear it. I swear to God. It was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street minding my own business when this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets. Yet again. Oh yes, as you can see, I am a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time I've been targeted by these black slum scoundrels. Yes, I'm evil. Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Ooh!
Come along now, Miss Lestrade. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police.
Hold on, why does everything think it's me? Just look at this dandy coat, and you think I'm the dodgy one?
I'm so sorry, but no one's going to believe you.
Well, what about evidence? Yeah. Where's the evidence I stolen something, eh? Come on, let's see it. Oh, I haven't evidence. I have evidence, naturally. You what?
Uh-oh.
Evidence that the article Miss Lestrade deemed actually belongs to this gentleman? Of course, we need to only consult Mr. Windybank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name on the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant. Team Fortress 2 hats!
I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Oh?
I never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine.
But why not?
Well, now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have rather circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity.
Yes, I see. But then how can you know if an article belongs to the person asking you to redeem it?
Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir, might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question?
Of course, it's... Professor.
Yes, that's right. All the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without a doubt. A watchword, interesting.
So, about these watchwords, Mr. Windybank. Sussy! You got some hats for Team Fortress 2? That's sussy.
Very sussy, dude. As I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret.
That wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Great detectives have no dark secrets, none at all.
Yes, well, anyway, that's why in many ways it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock the vault.
Because you go with my family. Aww. That's nice. Did you have a good time? At the
Noah's Ark Museum? Seems pretty sussy to me, but to each their own. I mean, what kind of stuff would you put in a Noah's Ark Museum? Little stuffed animals? Real animals, I suppose. Make a big Noah's Ark, huh? Sounds very America for you. A date of deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, I give the storage ticket to the customer. Have a T-Rex? They had a T-Rex in the Noah's Ark? What? I'm sorry, they had a T-Rex in the Noah's Ark? What? Okay. So we're just gonna pretend that dinosaurs didn't die 69 million years ago then? Okay! Oh, mama, that is hilarious. That is... Have science! Uh-huh. I wonder what kind of science they had. Not the science that I'm teaching in my classroom, I can tell you that. Sounds like some, as we would say, pseudo-science. To me. Dinosaurs in Noah's Ark. Ooh, I gotta remember that. That is hilarious, bro. Anyway, sorry. Oh man, that is funny. Okay. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article? That's right, sir, yes. Just as soon as the requisite fee is paid.
And I have supplied you with the information you require already, but for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat deposited 2 months ago on the 15th of February. Yes, I'm evil, with a watchword of Professor.
All perfectly correct information, sir.
But, ow!
Really, this is beyond a joke now. There's no further room for doubt.
Ugh.
I think it actually might be hers. I really do. Picture postcard gentleman. Excuse me, but who are you?
One would expect. Though clearly you're not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you.
Oh, sorry, yes. We're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here. Bill Nye guy. Yeah, I can tell you Bill Nye would find it very, very, very funny that there's dinosaurs in Noah's Ark. I can tell you that. Bill Nye would be very sussy. Well, suspectful, actually.
Oh yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. Voila! Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup dressed with exotic spices.
You might be thinking of somewhere else. And what was that theatrical gesticulation about?
Perhaps, anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir, you will offer your own name first before inquiring after the name of another.
Oh, of course, yes. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really. My name is Susato Mikotoba. I am Mr. Naruhodo's assistant.
I see. My name is Benedict. Yes, Egert Benedict. Yes, enchanté.
He's so refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but that name is suspicious.
Now to the matter at hand. Yes. My overcoat, return it at once to someone with style to carry it off. Every move he makes, every breath he takes, I can't stand watching him.
Dinosaurs at the Noah's Ark Museum. Oh man, that is funny, man. Okay, so let that be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Egbert Benedict, sir. Egbert Benedict. Egbert Benedict.
Oh, slippery like Benedict, running all over your face, baby. With such a reasonable rate of interest, I may decide to come back. Oh, that's why I ain't grown-ups. Just 'cause I'm a diver, everyone thinks makes me a liar. And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker.
But of course, sir, here is the disc for you.
Just this one?
Pardon, sir?
I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another.
Another disc? Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that what was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The discs happened to be in one of the pockets, but what I was completely unaware of it until now.
So, Gutling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who, eh? I don't know nothing about it.
Vita get another cat? I think when Rizzo dies, we will try to get 2 cats, Krabs. But Rizzo's doing pretty good. She went to the vet, and she's actually hanging in there. We thought she was maybe really sick, but she's hanging in there. We gave her some steroids, and she went meow, meow, meow. She was a good girl. She's still doing all right.
Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell, say goodbye to style. Wait a minute, that disc is mine. Ah, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal.
Oh my, yes, there's blood on the disc.
Because all those sharp little bumps. This man must have scratched his finger on them.
I found it first, alright? I mean, it belonged to me old man. So you're not having it. Or you take it.
Me?
If I hang on to it, they'll have me off again, so you keep hold of it.
Miss Lestrade, why is this disc so important to her? The music box disc is entered into the court record. Kitty cat reveal. Oh, meow. Rizzo? She's on my Instagram if you want to look. In the description. Named Rick and Morty. But we're not going to do that until Rizzo dies, Krabs. We can't have any more cats right now. But I think we'll try to get 2. Adults, of course. Because nobody wants to adopt adult cats.
You there in the black livery. Hand that disc to me at once, please. No, don't do it. He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars.
What do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? We're going to look at the evidence. There's some blood on it. Look at all that little bumps on the disc. They're so tiny.
Yes, the protrusions are called pins, and they pluck in the teeth of the comb to make the note. And just on the edge, there's small amounts of blood.
Yes, the blood of the mysterious Mr. Egbert Benedict.
When Miss Lestrade tried to grab the disc from him, Pin scratched his fingers, it seemed. Like when you're grating some daikon radish and you accidentally catch your finger.
Ouch, just thinking about it hurts and puts me off eating radish.
Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck on the reverse side of the disc, look. And it's scribbled a word or two, looks like somebody's name. For McGilded. McGilded, it couldn't be.
But it is, Mr. Naruhodo. A name I shall never forget, as long as I live. But why? Why is his name on this? before McGill did.
Oh,
Wow, Miss Lestrade is looking daggers at that mysterious gentleman. We need to do something to calm things down before she loses control and attacks him again. Look at those piercing eyes. He's clearly in no mood to talk. We have to do something quickly. Oh! Mr. Windybank is clearly at a loss here. We have to do something before he reaches for that revolver of his. Run away! Mr. Sholmes, what are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see.
So, you found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sorry?
After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows, cruelly ostracized by the rest of you partook in a jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see my downfall as done to me. So, feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinket in this desolate place. Whilst you shrewdly observed gnawing on the only friend I have left, this 7% solution of caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruhodo? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely.
Then, why on earth did you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know.
Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every single word that was uttered.
You really were sad, weren't you? Poor Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you.
It would seem that my inferences are correct.
Oh? Surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again.
My dear madam, sometimes I wonder, will my genius for deduction be commoditized? How much should I pawn it for?
Seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration, but who knows if it will help resolve the situation between Miss Lestrade and the mysterious gentleman? What's the right thing to do here? Probably listen to the deduction, I would imagine, right? And then we're probably going to have to fix it. Alright, why not? Let's listen to it.
Well, Miss Lestrade, it would appear to you find yourself in something of a predicament.
Where in blue blazer you been, eh? Mr. Higgins? Bugger off.
Pardon?
When a lady's in trouble, a true gentleman's supposed to be there to help.
You are not stupid, Krabs. But, one thing I will say is stupid is, you're not stupid, but Noah's Ark Museum with dinosaurs? Now that's stupid. That's just hilarious.
When a lady's in trouble, a true gentleman's supposed to be there to help straight away, not an hour later.
Harsh.
And who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Egbert Benedict, you have in my eyes a veritably encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon. The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokerage today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? How?
He's turned white as a hard-boiled egg. It would seem that once again, Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction.
Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah, yes, as I hoped. This is precisely the pained expression I was looking for.
I don't think this is randomized, Krabs.
So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Herlock Sholmes Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. This will be $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Please donate in the link below. Yes, the game is afoot. Mysterian Man's Aim. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you have ventured in this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen on you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to the shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement for this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would realize that a man of your appearance has no need for such employ. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your action. The cane which you unwittingly clutch in your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What other rot? I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there is only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. Oh, you recoil, sir. Is something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer to the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind the rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle, mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. Know that rod? Is the broken handle of a shovel. Boy, are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here was to take employment at this establishment, in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. With a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime.
This is wrong. This is very wrong. Very wrong.
Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of the elaborate crime which you've been planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, gentlemen, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel? What on earth do you propose I could find out there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose? Save such a fanciful theory, without possible reason could I have to do as you say. Oh, but there is ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. And your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. The letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of upcoming sewerage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, and another runs under the bank of the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterway that flows very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you?
In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of underground tunnels.
Master plan.
Which brings us to the last final chapter of its lucrative scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from underground vault to the bank?
Are you quite serious?
Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, the picture postcard tells us all we need to know.
A postcard of the Great British Expedition? I'm afraid you've quite lost me.
Currently in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway, and the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank on the opposite side of the road.
Pardon?
Yes, the considerable crime which you've been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault bank, the special reserve of funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret information, so please keep it under your hat.
Yep, he's off. He's way off. We're gonna have to fix it. So we do, boys. Sholmes look like a drippy chip. Yes, he does a bit. He does a touch, doesn't he?
Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this pawn-breaking puzzle.
He does a little bit, you're right. But he's derpy, too. Mr. Sholmes.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo? An unimpressibly upbeat deduction for Detective Racked with Loneliness, would you not agree?
Was it true what you said about the bank over the road? And what was in its vault?
Indeed. Though few know of its existence, it is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me in the strictest of confidence.
But you just announced it to everyone here, rather loudly, in fact.
Ah!
And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it?
There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly, it is because the man is a criminal.
But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is surely to be the first thing he does now that you revealed the secret.
Oh.
Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Winbank will. He already has plenty of shovels around after all.
All my life, I assure you, I'm not so unscrupulous.
Well, hopefully that has taught you the valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost care.
You are such a derp, dude.
One can never be sure that someone's privy to secrets won't disclose them once the word is out. It's out.
Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Shone.
An excellent idea, Mr. Naruhodo. An excellent idea.
Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yeah, let's listen to that great deduction again. And change it up!
Very well then, let us start once more from the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes' magnificent logical reasoning spectacular! Hadouken! Course correction. Hold it!
When's guilt to gear? I don't know. It's a good question.
First of all, we have to ask ourselves what business you ventured in this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you here to shop this first place is the staff recruitment flyer.
No. So, by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job, so we could dig down through the floor. Yes, and attempt to tunnel into the sewers to gain access to money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is, where? What did bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? Sussy boy. Scribbled writing. Oh, look at all that scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. I don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade. Height, 5'2". Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness. There's even a sketch of her hat and all. Although, if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. Windy Banks, Pawnbrokery, Baker Street, redemption deadline April 15th. Which is today's date. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper? Sussy. I'm gonna check out Multiversus Evo. I was watching, no worries, dude. I was watching Mortal Kombat 11 a little bit. It was really good, but I'll have to watch the VOD when I'm done. Enjoy it. That's gotta be it, right?
Take that!
That's gotta be that. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade.
Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear the writing and sketch in reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery here. Ah.
You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It's the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean here to Windybank's Pawnbrokery, and today, the redemption deadline of that overcoat.
So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description to have written down to arrive? Ha! And you have gone through some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions.
Oh.
The cane, which you so unwittingly clutched to your person, exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What other rot? I've had this cane for years.
The contradiction which to speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. No, it's the name on the... It's the name on the cane. What's a ferrule? It's the metal cap commonly found on the end of a cane, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, bit that makes the nice clacking sound on the pavement. Yes, exactly, and Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing on the cane. But it doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't. Though the gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's some secret about the cane Mr. Benedict would rather we not know. Yeah, it's the initialing. It's gotta be, right? It's gotta be the initialing.
Take that!
Gotta be. It's not his name. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing.
A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Egbert Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are E.B. Yet, in most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane being the initials A.G. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. This cane isn't.
You said before that you had that cane for years.
Gah.
So don't try to let us believe that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in the park.
In short, though you held yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name.
You recoil, sir. Is something wrong?
I.
And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the next answer to the next conundrum to present itself.
Namely, what is the truth behind the rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle which you evidently would like to conceal is the key to understanding this riddle, you see.
Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Miss Lestrade redeemed the fine-looking overcoat, and now a mysterious man has appeared, introducing himself with a fake name, and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But we know that he actually identified Miss Lestrade from a written description, which suggests that everything else he's told us is untrue. So what we need to do here is somehow prove the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Oh, there's a split seam. Why would you have a split seam if you're rich?
Take that!
No way.
The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see.
Ah,
Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart.
my suspicions were aroused from the outset.
When you so boldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. This catalogue of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from Mr. Windybank. But what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed.
To abscond with a redeemed item. Solved.
Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime in which you were planning.
This is utterly absurd.
You suggest that I, a gentleman designed to wheeze to filch some tardy article off a pawnage? Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner using the watchword? Yes. It had not been the one to deposit in the first place. How could I have possibly known the relevant details? N'est-ce pas? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more than telling, I could have hoped. What? Let us consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword relating to the pawned property of another. The method is revealed in the council notice on the account of which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. No.
The direction of the deduction must change rather dramatically now, I think. Yeah, no talk of tunneling into the sewers. Which is a pity, because it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, you can't deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword.
Yes, Professor.
If you didn't know the watchword, Mr. Windybank would never allow you to redeem the article. Or, looking at it another way, if you did know the watchword, Mr. Windybank would allow you to redeem the article whether it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? I do believe he could. Notelet? Pawnbroker's revolver? Maybe the notelet? Probably the notelet, right?
Take that!
The method revealed by the notelet on the... The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure where a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down the response uttered in his notelet at hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker.
But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages.
What are you talking about? It is increasingly apparent that you were present at the shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Windybank. When the diligent broker made the note of the watchword as common practice,
the team you thought was going to win lost. RIP! RIP.
You observed him writing the word professor on the notelet beside the ledger. And that, sir, was the master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade.
The master plan?
Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lucrative scheme. Why would you go through such lengths to redeem that particular article from the pawnbroker?
Are you quite serious?
For an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard is all we need to know. No, it wasn't the picture postcard. The articles we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of the pockets, which according to Mr. Windybank isn't even worth a penny. And yet this man went through such lengths to steal them. Why? I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it, Mr. Naruhodo. Could we, really? I better have a thorough look through the evidence we've collected so far. Yeah, I was looking at Uppercut is so good. I was watching MK11 a little bit, but I will watch the rest of it on demand later, probably. Sip some water real quick, if that's all right. Starburst, yummy. It's good. You see? Is my controller working? Oh, it's the evidence. Return to question. Maybe this? Gotta be the music box disc, right? Disc, right? You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that? On the back? It reads, for McGilded. Ah. Mr. Magnus McGilded, the unfortunate philanthropist who perished in a curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prominent man in London, though his lone mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples.
Aye, that's me. I'm a dead man.
So you're an associate of his, are you, or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGilded was a man of unusually small stature, in fact. He was precisely the right size for that overcoat you squeezed yourself into.
Oh.
Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Egbert Benedict. But the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded.
Oh! Ow!
You wanted the music disc.
Deduction complete. Well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances.
Oh.
Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind.
Pray tell, Mrs. Otto.
Well, according to what Mr. Windbank told us earlier, today was the final day in which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited.
Well, today's 15th of April, so 2 months ago today.
Would have been the 15th of February, sir. That's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposited it at 10:30 p.m., I see.
What? But that suggests... Yes, 15th of February is precisely on the day in which the omnibus murder took place. And 10:30 in the evening is precisely the time in which terrible events were unfolding.
Suggestive is not the word. It would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose, however. Oh, I must insist you hand over the music box now.
Huh? Music disc.
It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box.
Ah, what do I do? Give him the Susato takedown. Give him the Susato takedown. Absolutely not. There are some things a man must protect at all costs. This may be well one of those things. Then again, it may be not. Mr. Windybank, this is my shop. I can't allow any harm to come to my customers. If that were to happen, I should have to take my own life. Mr. Windybank, no. All right, that's enough. Inspector Gregson.
Inspector? That's right, Sunshine. The alarm was raised on one of our dedicated emergency lines, so we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about, eh?
Oh, praise be, you're here at last. I was moments away from forfeiting my own life in my very own establishment.
It would seem you have the upper hand.
Yo.
Right, you got some explaining to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with some petty argy-bargy.
Petty? Mr. Windybank barely nearly met his end.
Yeah, by his own gun as far as I can tell.
Oh dear.
And the whole of Britain could meet with his end. If I don't get to the bottom of this case, I'm supposed to be working on.
What on earth is this case, Inspector?
Spare me no detail, Gregson. I might have said a little too much.
No matter, it's nothing to do with you lot.
Anyway, sir, you're gonna have to come with me down to the station. But of course, Inspector.
Oh! He's getting away! Get after him, lads! Whistle the beat officer too! Sir! He ran off.
There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently, so we've fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble.
Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a while, very worried indeed.
Now then, permanently in mourning.
Oh yes?
I'll be taking whatever it is in McGilda's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over.
Oh, yeah, of course.
No, don't give it to him. It's mine, Dad, it's mine. Don't give it to him.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, miss. But anything belonging to Mr. McGilda has to be taken in as evidence now.
As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector.
It's mine.
And so, we handed Mr. McGilda's disc over to Inspector Gregson, and were summarily turfed out of the shop onto the street. Very sussy. To be continued.
See?
Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. There's a music disc, and it's something special about it. Let me see. Do we want to continue to episode part number 2? Yeah, I think we will. Why not? Do a little bit longer. Just a little bit. Why not? Not too much longer, but a little bit. Why not? It's pretty good. This will probably be a pretty long case anyway. So, 15th of April, Baker Street.
See? That's why I hate grown-ups. All they do is feed you a pack of lies and take stuff away from you.
Oh, really, Miss Lestrade? Tell me. Is that overcoat keeping you warm?
What?
Oh my, surely you were given that.
Yeah, they do let me keep it after all. I looked daggers at him for long enough. He went through the pockets and then said,
Go on, have it then, before telling me this.
Scrapper. Anyways, pays off giving people a look like you ate them.
I can't help but feeling that's going to get you into some serious trouble one day.
What I really wanted was that nice shiny disc, mine.
The music box disc? Well, Mr. Windybank said it was practically worthless.
I think I'm gonna go and have another bash. Give him a long hard stare.
I think not, Miss Lestrade. We shan't enter Windybanks again today.
Why not? That's not fair.
It can't be helped, I'm afraid. The police are investigating the scene now and taking a statement from Mr. Windybank.
But that disc's mine. I had the ticket for this coat and it was in my coat pocket. There should be something else after all. And that's what that rotten cove said, ain't it?
Yeah, he did mention something about another article, didn't he?
Well then, that's mine too, whatever it is.
Now she's really pushing her luck.
Miss Lestrade, I think it's time to admit defeat. You've had your haul for the day.
Yeah, and it's all your fault, Sholmes.
So what are your plans now? Will you dine with us this evening?
Eh?
Iris would be delighted to cook, I'm sure, and I might entertain you with a modest violin recital.
Oh. No, Tar.
Oh?
Why would I come round your place, eh? Have you lost your head or something?
Oh, she out. Oh dear, she's gone.
Having revealed on me is quite unnecessary, I might add.
I can't help wondering if perhaps she might turn up anyway.
Interesting.
Once she's had the chance to calm down, I think there's a good chance she'll decide to come.
Very well then. I'll inform Iris to set plate for our potential guests at the dinner table this evening. And one more thing. I should be glad of your company later too.
Sorry?
I believe I will have a rather splendid surprise to show you.
Oh, how exciting. What is it?
You shall have to wait and see, Miss Susato. Until later then, ta!
Okay. Okay.
15th of April, 3:46 p.m. Sholmes Suite.
Oh, Susie and Runo, come on and come in.
Good afternoon, Iris. Thank you so much for breakfast this morning.
Oh, don't mention it. Goodness, look at the time already.
Busy as always?
I am. I'm preparing everything for dinner this evening.
Already? You're obviously cooking something special. Are you?
Oh, yes, after all, we have a special guest joining us. Guess who it is? Go on. You'll never guess.
Look at those little eyes of her shining. Oh dear. It is awkward when you already know the answer, isn't it?
It's Ginny. Isn't that exciting?
Oh, what a surprise. Yes, that's wonderful news. Wow, seems Iris is overjoyed at the idea.
I can't wait to learn some pickpocketing tips from a real professional.
Oh yes, that does sound like fun. I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate. Are you, Mr. Naruhodo? By the way, Iris, what's Mr. Sholmes up to?
Early? Oh, he's been acting like that ever since he's got back.
Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
I beg you won't speak to me.
Sorry?
I don't know who you are, but kindly take your leave. As you can see, I'm not here.
Huh? I don't even know how to respond to that.
I do apologize. When he gets like this, he's completely oblivious to everything.
Yes, I see.
Really, he behaves just like a child sometimes, Hurley does.
Mr. Sholmes and Iris have something of a parent and child relationship, don't they? Yes, except that Iris is clearly the parent here. Come to think of it, I wonder where her real parents are.
What's the matter, Runo? Have you have such a funny look on your face?
Oh, no, it's nothing.
I know what it is. Why does that girl live here with Mr. Sholmes? You're wondering, am I right?
How did you...
Oh, Runo, I can read you like a book.
This girl is dangerous.
Don't worry, you can ask me anything. I won't mind.
Well, then let's do it.
So, by Ginny, you mean Miss Lestrade? The young woman from McGilded case 2 months ago, right?
Yes, and who stole my experimental smoke grenade launcher? Although, after the trial, I invited her back here and we had dinner together. And now we're best of friends.
Oh, what a lovely tale.
Yes, now if I bump into her on the street, she runs away as fast as she can.
Oh,
And I chase her down the back alleys.
interesting idea of friendship.
And then I let her have the latest color smoke grenade I've developed.
Oh,
There's so many beautiful colors in the world, Ginny wants to make a whole rainbow.
I suppose that means... You've let Mr. Strahd keep the smoke grenade launcher, have you?
Yes, that's right. I got bored of it anyways. Hurley always reacts the same way when I shoot him with it now.
Poor Hurley.
Oh, I can't wait for Ginny to arrive. It's been so long since she last came over. I'm so excited.
I just hope she does actually come.
I'm sure you've been wondering why it is that I live here with Hurley, haven't you?
Well, it has crossed my mind that... And where are your real parents?
My mummy and daddy aren't with me anymore.
Huh?
Mummy passed away when I was born. And that around the same time, my father... Well, he had to go to a Faroe land because of one of the cases Senior Hurley were working on.
Oh. Wait a minute. Did you say he and Hurley?
Yeah. Daddy and Hurley were always solving mystery cases together.
She didn't mention that before.
He wrote them all in his diaries. That's what is in the metal chest over there.
Really? He recorded them all? So, you mean it's true, Mr. Sholmes? Really did have a partner with whom he tackled some of the most taxing cases?
Oh yes, I mean, it's always nice to have one, isn't it?
So Mr. Sholmes' partner was your father?
Exactly. Hurley told me I wasn't allowed to look in the chest. But that only made me want to look even more. So I opened it up and found your father's memoirs. Yeah, so I asked Hurley, who wrote these? He nearly fell off his chair. But then he told me that's when I found out that the author of all these accounts was my father.
So Iris's father was Mr. Sholmes' partner?
Wow.
I practically lived with Hurley all my life. He was tiny when he took me in. So it came as quite a shock when Hurley told me he wasn't really my daddy. I mean, it must have done.
I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you at such a young age.
Hurley says it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me.
Oh.
Well, having lived with Hurley all these years, you might say that his waves have rubbed off on me. There are some things I can just see. Especially lies. Almost when people are lying right before they open their mouth sometimes.
Right.
Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, actually.
I'd always assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told you all those thrilling stories.
Oh no, Hurley's hopeless like that. He forgets everything as soon as he solves a case. It all but vanishes from his mind. Oh, I see. The other day it was so embarrassing, as usual he totally forgot about the case he just solved. So this very next day he gathered together all the people involved and proceeded to solve the case again. It was quite a shock for everyone.
You can say that again.
You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris?
That's right, Wilson. Daddy is Dr. John H. Wilson. I learned from his diaries that he's a doctor of medicine, you see. That's what prompted me to study and study so that I could earn a doctorate as well.
Iris's father, who went through some distant land?
and is a doctor by the name of John H. Wilson.
The court will now hear the trial of Rio Noshikanata Holdo.
Oh no, her dad died?
Kindly state before the court the victim in this case.
The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. No! Her dad died. No. And it was our first case, the one they thought that we were the ones who were the murderer. It's all tying together now. I suppose I should have seen that coming, huh? That's right. Visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. Until then, and the man who, in the most bizarre of circumstances, lost his life before we left Japan.
Mr. Sato. Yes?
Perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time.
I think that would be all for the best.
Aww, sad.
Ah, my dear fellows, how good to see you.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
Why ever did you not make your presence known to me before? Well, no matter now. So, how the devil are you?
We've been with you for most of the day.
Goodness, really?
Do tell me, Mr. Sholmes, is your violin unscathed?
My violin? Whatever are you talking about, my dear madam?
Never mind that now. I have something more interesting to show you.
I have something far more interesting. Behold, my dear fellows.
Oh, another music box disc.
No, not another disc, Miss Utato. 'Tis the one Gregson demanded we hand over as evidence, Mr. McGilda's disc.
Oh my!
Then what's it doing here?
You know, at times, Mr. Naruhodo, I think that though I have an undeniable turn for detection, I may well even be more adept at larceny. Aha! I'm a thief, bitches. I'll steal your heart.
Oh, that would be wonderfully exciting. I'd be your pickpocketing assistant. And Runo could be our go-to lawyer if we ever got caught.
Right.
Plus, Susie has beautiful handwriting. She could write all of our menacing crime notifications.
Yes, I'd be delighted.
I'm just gonna pretend this conversation never happened, I think. I don't understand. How did this come to be in your possession? I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard.
Quite correct. And that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this.
That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes. Your one and only friend at times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken.
If you will humor me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. I'll be taking that whatsoever of a McGilda's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over.
Oh, yes, of course.
If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. For the briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not?
Yes, you did, but I still don't understand.
It was at the precisely moment that I summoned one of my only friend into action. I pressed the disc into a pair of bars like this.
That's amazing! You gave him a chocolate disc?
The disc and all its minuscule protrusions have made an image into the caramel. Indeed, this caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. Suitably soft for making impressions, but resistant enough to melting. The result is a precisely controlled solution.
How extraordinary.
Carrying a pair of these on one's person frequently proves useful indeed. Take a house key, for example. A simple press and its unique form is duplicated. I can enter anyone's property at will and will never hurt the high sucrose nourishment.
And never without high sucrose nourishment.
Yes, it sounds illegal. From the image, I was able to create this.
I confess I was most curious to know what the manner of music would issue from this disc when displayed.
Well, let's see. Do tell us then, Mr. Sholmes. What does the music display?
Well, unfortunately, I have no idea.
No idea?
None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of the music box, my dear fellows?
No, I'm afraid not.
Goodness, you don't know, Runo? Inside a music box, there's a special metal plate called a cone. That's what produces the sound. Small protuberances pluck the different teeth of the cone as they rotate it, making different notes. This first music box is to be invented used a rotating cylinder with protuberances on it.
But over time, a new type of player was produced, which uses discs such as these. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide all around the globe.
Why exactly?
Because the discs are easy to produce and can be interchanged to facilitate playing of different tunes. There are a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music as a result.
It is so wonderful to be able to enjoy music, even when no performer is present.
But it is the very success of this invention that means we are now presented with an insurmountable problem.
What do you mean?
As you may imagine, the construction of one firm's music box does not match the other. And we have no way of knowing in which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There is no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable.
Oh, I see. So that's why.
Naturally, I tested the disc in a few music boxes I have at my disposal. But as you can hear, to no avail. The results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all musical boxes ever made in Europe.
Every single one?
That's early for you, always taking things too far.
But, my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution.
But surely all different types in Europe will amount to huge volumes of music boxes, won't it?
Yes, that is certainly true in the worst case. I shall just have to ask you to vacate the attic room.
What? Gonna throw me out for some music boxes?
Magnus McGilded, not a name I expected to hear so soon again.
Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. Was it the curse of the Reaper? No one knows still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash, not a shred of evidence remained. And with the man's death, the truth about the murder, in which he was so intimately involved, was buried. Even though we were successfully established Mr. McGilded's innocence in that trial, the newspaper is still claiming that it remained an unsolved case. Bum, 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 bum. The murder of the brickmaker, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. Thrice-fired. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night.
It's me, a wee bit.
Although Mr. McGilded was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not.
I'm a wee nipper leprechaun. Yes, I was not guilty. I swear it. On my grave, literally, I'm dead now. So you'll have to swear over me grave.
It would appear the case is not yet closed.
Well, it's time I started getting things ready for dinner, I think. Jenny will be here before long.
Thank you, Iris.
Oh, well, you must let me help you then.
Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do.
I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Now then, where did I leave it?
Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker.
Yes, you may be right.
Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Windybank said before. He said that he had once a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he?
Did he?
Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom, were his last words, I believe.
So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were as incensed as I was.
Oh, yes, the idea of such a wonderful story languishing in Mr. Windybank's storeroom gathering dust.
My dear madam, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than a bank's vault.
And what about your Stradivarius, Early? Was it safe and secure?
Well, there must be an occasional mix-up.
Caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now.
Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that Bakerville story, Early?
Oh, it sounds so exciting. The Hound of Baskerville. Baskerville.
I should love to read it. Ah.
Ah. What's going on here? Why does it feel like an icy chill just swept through the room?
Susie, what did you just say?
You
said the Hound of Baskerville? But how could you know the full title?
Well, that's because Miss Susato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course.
But Runo, it's the Hound of Baskervilles. Has never been published. When I showed Early the manuscript, he told me that I wasn't allowed to publish it yet.
I don't understand.
That's why he said he'd keep it safe. Until it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see.
So that's why the manuscript was at Windybanks.
And yet, how could Susie know the title? Well, Early, what's going on?
What is it, Mr. Sholmes?
It would appear our guest has arrived.
Miss Lestrade.
This was a bad idea. I knew it wouldn't work on. I'm going.
No, wait, Miss Lestrade. We've all been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Haven't we, Iris?
Oh yes, just wait there, Ginny. We have everything ready in a jiffy. Come along, Susie.
Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you here, Miss Lestrade. Please, make yourself at home.
Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come along in. What say you to some Mendelssohn? I won't take no for an answer.
Meddlesome it is, then.
Neko!
Aww. That evening, Iris prepared us all a meal that was even more delicious than usual. Mr. Sholmes' violin performance was in no way meddlesome, and Gina, as we came to call her, taught us all how to steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves well into the night. That's pretty good. Oh, man, that's pretty good. All right, I'll play a bit more. Just a little bit. April 15th, 9:34 p.m., Naruhodo Legal Consultancy. I'm going to sip some water real quick, too. That was a very enjoyable evening, wasn't it? Oh yes, Iris's cooking was truly divine. And I feel as though I can still hear the enchanting strains of Mr. Sholmes' violin even now. Best of all, I bet he could steal the glasses from his lordship's face next time we're in court. Naruhodo-san, could I consult with you about something, I wonder? What's the matter, Susato-san? It's about the telegram I received. Ah, the one that arrived first thing this morning, I suppose. I've been summoned. What? Summoned? What do you mean? The telegram was from the Lord Chief Justice office. Lord Strongheart asked to see me. The Lord Chief Justice? When? Tomorrow morning. What? Then we have to start preparing at once. Oh, no, that won't be necessary, Naruhodo-san. I've been summoned alone. Alone? What on earth for? I have no idea. I suppose I shall find out tomorrow. What is all this about? Whatever it is, it's making me feel very uneasy. Uh-oh. Oh, who could that be, I wonder?
Good evening, friends.
Ah, Iris. Hello again. And Gina, too.
Yeah, Ginny's gonna stay with us tonight. She's gonna sleep in with me. Isn't that right, Ginny?
Well, yeah.
How lovely. Let me make a pot of tea. You know, I've learned so much today.
Oh? What in particular?
All those things Ginny showed us. Wasn't it wonderful?
You mean all those pickpocketing techniques? We had fun trying them on each other, didn't we?
I think I've awakened a natural talent. I could earn a living from it.
You might be getting ahead of yourself there a little. So what brings you to your humble quarters at this late hour?
Well, you see, I came to return this.
Wait, what? That's mine! Oh my, however did you...
I told you, didn't I? I have natural talent for it.
Oh, yes, I've forgotten. Iris literally is a child genius.
So anyway, here, you can have it back. Not that I really understand why you wear it, though.
Ah, thank you.
Alright then, good night.
Yes, good night.
So this is your office, is it? What do you think, Ginny?
I think I wouldn't fancy me chances with a lawyer what lives in a place like this.
Yes, me too.
Ah!
It seems as though Iris here still has something she'd like to talk about. I suppose she probably wants me to talk about the manuscript. Yes, I suppose she probably does. Iris, I suppose you're hoping to talk about the manuscript, aren't you?
Aren't you going to tell me?
I'm so sorry. I need a little more time, please.
Alright, I understand. I hope I haven't made you feel awkward.
Oh, no, not at all, Iris. Not at all.
I don't know what this is all about, really, but it's a story you made up, is it, Iris? The mantle script or whatever you call it?
It's not exactly a story that I made up. It's something I read in Daddy's diaries.
Daddy's?
That's right. I don't suppose I've mentioned it to you before, Ginny, but my daddy was Hurley's assistant once, his partner.
Eh?
They've solved all sorts of strange and mysterious cases together.
Is that right, mister?
Apparently so. I was surprised as you are, though.
And Daddy wrote all those details of the single case down, you see, in his diaries. So I study them and write my stories based on what actually happened.
So, where's your old man now, then?
He had to go away on urgent business to a faraway land, and he'll be gone a very long time. So I've never really met him.
Oh, right.
Come to think of it, I don't know anything about Gina's parents either. Perhaps we should ask her. Iris, this Hound of the Baskervilles story? I take it that's another tale inspired by your father's accounts.
That's right. I thought it was fascinating. But it's different somehow. From the other cases, I mean.
Oh? How?
I don't really know, but it must be special in some way. Because after I'd written it, and I showed the manuscript to Hurley, he turned white as a sheet. It was the first time I've ever seen him like that.
It pains me to have to say this after you've toiled over it for so long, Iris, but this story must not be published at this time, under any circumstances.
But why not? It's one of my best works.
I am not at liberty to say, not now, so please do not ask me.
Oh. All right then, I won't.
But I do solemnly swear that I will explain everything one day, Iris, when the time is right.
And that's how our manuscript came to be with Mr. Windybank, is it? Yes. Early said it has to be somewhere very safe.
That really gets my goat, that does. He's treating you like a child. It's me. That's what it is, keeping secrets like that.
I'm sure Mr. Sholmes isn't trying to be mean.
Eh?
If he said he wasn't at liberty to talk about it, I'm sure there must be a very good reason.
I think so too.
You lot are too trusting for your own good. But he can't pull the wool over my eyes. Sholmes is lying to Iris. I bet my life on it.
Huh?
Hurley's lying to me?
I've realized I don't know anything about your parents, Gina.
I ain't got any, have I? Never did have.
Oh?
Look, the East End's full of orphans like me. No one wants nothing to do with us from the minute we were born, not even our mums.
Oh.
But we all stick together. The older ones look after the little ones and make sure they get by.
So that's why you're a pickpocket.
Oh. Nah, diving's my life. I love it. I get a kick out of it every time I lift some pompous idiot's purse. And that's how we afford to eat. Like Robin Hood, ain't I? That's how I see it.
Oh, Gina.
I do think about it sometimes. What it'd be like to have parents, I mean. I always thought it'd make everything right. But having listened to what Iris just said, it sounds like having parents ain't always easy either.
Oh.
I mean, if you never had them, you don't feel like you're always wanting something to meet them.
Oh. It's true.
Huh?
I do want to see Daddy so much.
Oh, Iris.
Oh.
Sholmes lie. Gina, what did you mean by you said you know Mr. Sholmes is lying to Iris?
Well, he reckons he popped that manuscript or whatever, right? But come on, that's obviously a load of rubbish.
Oh my, why would you think that, Gina?
It's simple. If the story was in old Windybank's storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words you, could know about it. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you.
But Hurley would never do something like that, I'm sure of it.
Ah! Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, the lot of them. You just ain't realised it yet. I'm telling you, that manuscript ain't worked at Windybanks. You soon see if you had a look. Even if you think you can trust him, I don't. That Sholmes is a liar like the rest of them.
If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. See?
Oh,
But that didn't mean to think he sold it.
I mean that sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know.
Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him.
Don't be too hard on yourself, Iris.
Oh my goodness, look at the time.
Come on along, Ginny. We should go back downstairs.
Yeah, all right.
And please don't mention any of this to Hurley, please, will you?
No, of course not.
Good night then, Iris.
Good night then, Gina.
You must let me make breakfast for you tomorrow morning. I insist.
Oh, yes, please. I can't wait, Susie. Good night then.
Iris, Shirley is easy to forget, isn't it? Sometimes she speaks just like an adult, but deep down she's still just a child.
Well, I think it's time that I turned in for the night too, Naruhodo-san.
Dr. John H. Wilson, Iris's father, but also the name of the murdered visiting professor at Yume University. It can't be a mere coincidence. There's something deeper going on. Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo. That voice. That's Mr. Sholmes. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. What's going on? It's the middle of the night.
It's Miss Lestrade. She's gone.
Huh? Gina?
She was supposed to be sleeping in Iris's room, but her bed is empty.
Well, she's an independent young woman. She probably decided to go home now.
I think not. From speaking to her before she retired, I received the distinct impression that she was looking forward to breakfasting with Miss Susato. No, I don't believe the girl has gone home, but I believe she's waiting, and I believe I've been waiting over an hour now.
Over an hour? Oh.
If you'll indulge me, look out the window, my dear fellow.
What's this about? Huh? Wait a minute. Why is there a light on at this time of night?
That's Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery.
Mr. Windybanks? Oh no.
It's simple. If that story was really in old Windybank's storeroom, there's no way someone from halfway around the world, in other words, you, could know about it.
Sorry, Iris.
But if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you.
Could Gina have gone?
It seems you have some knowledge of the situation, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sorry? Oh, no, not really.
Well, anyway, we must investigate. At once.
Mr. Sato!
16th of April, 1:14 a.m. Baker Street.
The door to Windybanks. It's open. And the lamp is burning. Must be Gina, mustn't it?
Let us hope it is nothing more sinister.
What?
Come, there's not a moment to lose. Clearly something's afoot inside.
There's no one here.
Oh yes, there is.
Oh! Oh! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! What the? Has Sholmes been shot?
Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo.
But...
After them! Go!
Right. Blast! I've lost them.
Hello, what have we have here?
The alarm was just raised from this pawnbroker, sir. Would you know something about that?
Officer, come with me. It's my friend, Mr. Sholmes. He's been shot.
Shot!
With the policeman close behind me, I ran back to Windy Banks. No, he didn't die. No way. No
Mr.
way,
Sholmes.
bro.
Mr. Narado.
How bad is it? Never mind me, but there's much at stake. Behind that door. In the storeroom. Hurry!
Yo, we got a cutscene, bro. Oh no. And the chest. Oh god.
It's Gina!
Oh, we got bad news here. We got bad news here. Yeah, okay, that'll do it for today's episode. Fun, fun, fun. Thanks, Liam. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Krabs. Thanks, EE. Thanks, Bakur. Thanks, Raitza. Have a great day, everybody. Back in a bit. Peace.